everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I'm talking to you about Amethyst and Moonstone, the new release from the Austrian-based project Carathis. And this is a personal records release. Okay, before we begin, this is officially a compilation. And technically, the first half of this isn't new. Came out as an EP the end of 2021. Second half of this absolutely is new. And the two halves of this are being packaged and put together, kind of blended all up as this release, this new release. So, I'm okay telling you that this is a new 2023 album. And the consensus online seems to agree with me on that. So, we'll preface out of the way. Carathis is primarily a project from someone named Erech Lethler. Although on the second half, there is someone named Palisade that gets behind the kit. And this is some wonderful black metal. It's a black metal release that has a rawness. That's for sure. It's there. But also there's a sense of wonder to it. There's these subtle symphonic elements. There's some like majestic melodic moments. But with all of that said, the thing rips. I've seen this listed in a couple places as medieval black metal. And sure, cool. I think that makes sense. It does have this fantastical element to it, and it has an epicness to it as well, and these calls to ye old times, and just the overall aesthetics and presentation of the music. On Sacred Walls, there's this thin, kind of wandering guitar intro that feels like it's alluding to something bigger. It kind of reminds me of something a little human serpenty. And yes, it is in fact leading to something much more jubilant with these rushing guitars and full fire drums. These sprawling synths are super engrossing, especially in the way they kind of blend with these very pronounced downstrummed guitars. There's these kind of grandiose melodic touches that find themselves sprinkled all over this track, and they're paired with these very vocally, this very lonesome croak from Erech, I would describe it as. Whole track, this whole release, I should say, feels otherworldly and huge, but it also feels very close up and intimate. It's that this is written for a huge production, but we're going to make it as a lo-fi release and own that attitude. And I fuck with that. There is a jubilance to Crimson Gate. These symphonic elements sort of wrap around the whole thing for this real awe-inspiring ambience. And there's quite a few, dare I say, playful melodies here to embrace. It's still super grim and harsh. Don't worry. The drums here add a ton of momentum. Very crisp, snappy snares pummel themselves forward. This is a very energetic take on black metal. Forsaken Realm is fairly darker and heavier, I would say. And there's this building intensity that is brought to you by some fantastic attacks from the drummer. There's a definite coldness here, that's for sure. Kind of in the way that the guitars do this buzzing and sawing, but skyward looking runs, and the symphonic elements, while possessing an enchanting beauty to them, also lend a sense of real isolation. Fallen Star is probably my favorite track here. It's packaged with these circling organ sounds, these incessant snares, and these far reaching screeches from the vocalist. The guitars play these full speed ahead, furious tremolos, and they're the hook here, they're the real one. The chorus really sticks with you. It's a really cool moment. It's mystifying. It's moving. The Amethyst Fortress is just dripping with melancholy. There's a weariness here that is so palpable. And I love these kind of fluttering, oscillating symphonic bits. It's hypnotizing. There's this real larger than life passage here that sees Lethler seemingly shouting at the wind in desperation, and it's supported by these guitar riffs that are cutting yet possess a mournfulness to them. It's super attention grabbing and demanding of your attention. It's super compelling. The fantasy-esque coat definitely snugs this one in. It's for us RPG nerds. And Carathis kind of just embraces that, and I'm super grateful for it. The portal is the first of the newer material here on this release, and you can definitely see a grander and more theatrical approach and sound starting to creep in. The vocals here drift more into kind of this frenzied snarl. It's a definitely more visceral kind of delivery. There's a couple vocal lines here where Erech seems to go more into these sharp, quick growls. It's really nice and snappy and works really well with these slicing, fiery guitar riffs that definitely announce their stay. The procession. Also, I like how every track here starts with I'm into this thematic tie-in and just patterning. Anyway, total side note. I like how this track has these echoey, hazy guitars kind of leading the way. This is definitely the darkest, most densely atmospheric cut we've heard thus far, but the most surprising and perplexing moment is on this cut. You get this. You need to hear me out, okay? You get this almost dance break with these stabbing keys, bouncing drums, these flickering, distorted guitar that's catchy. And it seamlessly blends into the most ferocious guitar riff on the record. And this happens twice. You might just have to hear this to make sense of it, because it works so well. It works really well. It's one of the best moments here. You're gonna have to experience it for yourself. The vocals that match this are blazing and wide-eyed and nasty, but also come off as mighty and triumphant. Carathis really flexes some strong songwriting chops throughout the record. On the prayer, the organs here are they're definitely there. You could find the organs. It almost comes off as campy, but it doesn't. Erech seems to internalize where exactly that line is, and it never really crosses over it. This track in particular, definitely more than any of the others on the release, has this real vintage callback to it. It definitely has some Bathory coming out, and even some earlier influences I think can be heard in just how anthemic and purely fun this track is. There's this like fist raising quality that Erech really embraces here, and I like that. I really enjoy the slick licks and twisting guitar moments. The playing here, it rules. The priestess has this weepy and icy guitar introduction. It's really somber and haunting, and it leads right into these creeping palm muted riffs. This whole track has this concentrated mood to it. Vocally on the main hook, Erech definitely paints this dark image of like an adventurer, though it's definitely a more ominous note to end the record on. Amethyst and Moonstone is just a super enjoyable raw black metal release, and for those who like symphonic elements in their black metal used in slightly different and more creative ways, this is definitely something that does that. There's a certain charm and eccentricity to this record while also being heavy and grim and all of those things. For black metal fans, definitely check this one out if you haven't already heard it. And hey, if you enjoyed this review, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd be so kind, it really helps the channel grow and get it out there. If you would subscribe, it would mean the world to me. Leave a comment if you wish to. I love interacting with those. I have a Twitter you can follow. Link to that bio is in the bio of this YouTube channel. And hey, keep it metal. My name's Manny, aka Beaver Mosh, signing off.